It's that time again. The new stage is now set, so let the party begin. Everybody knows the name of the Dallas Cowboys. Let's go Cowboys.
Hello everybody and welcome into another edition of the Cowboys Fan Show. I'm your host Tyler Ortega, joined as always by my co-host Scott Jeter. Now Scott, it was a beatdown in our nation's capital this last weekend with the Cowboys coming out on top. I know you loved it. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I was actually pleasantly surprised. I think they watched the show, Tyler. You know, all the keys of the game, did a good job, and honestly, it was the exact type of win that we needed. Everybody played well. 60 minutes of football. Good job. Yeah,
and I think this is that point in the season, Scott, where you start seeing the legit teams really separating themselves from the pack. Let's go ahead and have a look at these highlights from Sunday's game going down again in Washington, D.C. As this one, it didn't start off great for the Cowboys, Scott, mainly with this first play from scrimmage here. Zeke is going to cough it up, and, this really spelled the beginning of the end, it looked like.
I honestly wasn't terribly worried about that because that's what Zeke does in Washington. Is he has to actually get those out of the way just so he can do a better job later on, as we saw last year.
Yeah, and this. Luckily, the Cowboys defense did have that bend but don't break mentality throughout Sunday. I know that was one of your keys to the game last week was bend but don't break.
Don't break. No
Dallas did an exceptional job with that here this last Sunday against Washington. As we will see, they held them to 3 points on their first drive there, and now we'll pick it up Cowboys with their second drive, as Dak Prescott finds the backup tight end Jeff Swain for that one. Now Dak again with the play action. He's going to rifle it off to Terrence Williams. When T-Will gets in the open space, you'd normally like him to score.
Yeah, absolutely right. Good job with T-Will on that one. He's been trying to run before he catches him lately, so he's had a few drops, but, he did his job good on this one. And, yeah, he's quick. He's quick, Tyler.
And there goes Zeke getting into the end zone completely untouched. Zeke had himself a day. He was eating.
Yeah, feed him. Yeah, feed him, and they did. They did. I think 33 carries, 150 yards for the day. You can see him just tear it up in these highlights, and then here we go, blown coverage.
Yeah, that's Jamison Crowder coming down with that one. He had over 100 yards on the day for Washington. Really, the only receiver that did too much, as you can see, Anthony Brown, he just gets beat. He gets caught flat-footed. He expected some help over the top, it looked like.
Help over the top, you could tell. He was trying to play the underneath, and Heath, I think, actually just dropped that one. We've been talking about that all season, Tyler.
Yeah, and you can see that pass just dropped right in between the defenders. Beautiful pass by Cousins. Couple plays later here as the Redskins are going to hand it off to Kelly. Fat Rob is what they call him over there in our nation's capital. He gets it for 6.
Second best running back on the team.
The first one's not even a running back. It's a quarterback. Dak Prescott facing pressure here on 2nd and 3. He goes down. Ryan Kerrigan getting his hands on Dak there. Kerrigan, he was in the backfield quite a bit.
Yeah, had himself a day. La'el Collins did struggle a little bit in this one, as you're going to see in these highlights. But, it's, the right tackle. We were used to that last year with Doug Free. He's really coming into his own, but he just had a tough assignment today.
Yeah, and there's Chris Thompson taking the carry on that one, picking up the first down. And again, there was a point in the game, Scott, where it kind of looked like the Washington offense was hitting on all cylinders.
Yeah, they were doing what they needed to be doing. They were, getting the ball out to Chris Thompson, those intermediate passes, just getting into the playmakers and trying to use their speed to get around these linebackers. But we made some adjustments in the second half that I actually really agreed with and I really liked it. Had a DB shadowing Thompson the whole time, kind of shut him down. That's what we're going to see here.
Yeah, this one coming to us just about midway through the second quarter. Washington again picking up the first down by way of Crowder. Now Cousins on 2nd and 13. He's going to dump it off to Thompson there in the flat. And this guy, he's got wicked breakaway speed.
Yeah, he's got some wheels on him. He's an explosive playmaker for these guys, and I actually think he's their best back. I mean, he's not, between the tackles guy, but he's a weapon for them.
And this right here may have been the play of the game. Big number 98 actually earns his game check for this one. Okay, I take that back, Crawford.
Not mad at him anymore.
That was a blocked field goal by the Cowboys. Tyrone Crawford would get up there and swat that. It's going to be returned by Orlando Scandrick all the way down to the Redskins 5. Let's have a look here at this blocked field goal, Scott, as it was just some good penetration. You can see the hands of Crawford. Irving is in there, and a good return there for Dallas as well.
Yeah, I felt the love right there for good old number 32 Scan. I thought, man, just a couple more yards, he's in for the TD. I was really wanting him to get it. Good for him.
Yeah, as we'll see later, one of our D-backs found the end zone. Stay tuned to see who. As Dallas here pushes Zeke in for his second touchdown on the day. As Scott said, had 150 yards on the ground on 33 carries. That's the type of day that Zeke needs. 33 carries. Feed the man.
Feed him.
14-13 here, just before the break. Dallas getting some good pressure there on Cousins, and our pass rush, Scott, was on fire once again.
Yeah, and another key to the game, pressure on Cousins, and I thought these guys were going to be able to load up and go after him, as you see right there. Irving had himself one heck of a day. D-Law had himself one heck of a day. Crawford was working. Everybody on the D-line did their job. It was phenomenal.
And here we are just outside of the half. Cowboys still holding that 1-point lead, as the Redskins will pick up the first down. Just about 2.5 minutes gone by here in the second half. Cousins, he's going to cough it up, and that is going to be recovered by the Cowboys. So Washington just shooting themselves in the foot.
Yeah, strip sack by Tyrone Crawford right there. I owe the man an apology. I've been saying all he's not worth the money all season long. Right now I'm apologizing. Tyrone Crawford, I'm sorry. Good job.
And here goes Zeke straight through the middle, kind of like a hot knife through butter. He's so hard to bring down. And look at that, he's eating. So the Cowboys would tack on a field goal there by way of Mike Nugent filling in for the injured Dan Bailey. We'll talk about a little bit about Nugent here in just a minute. So the ensuing kickoff, it's going to be fumbled and again recovered by Dallas. So Washington, again, shooting themselves in the foot.
Yeah, and special teams, they just look good. They look good all day. Good job, special teams. I mean, 3 aspects of the game. You got to win at least 2, and they did a good job on at least 2 of those.
And here's Mike Nugent kicking the 48-yard field goal as he squeaks that one in. Cowboys now up 7. It's 20-13. Possession would go from Washington back to Dallas, and here goes Zeke. He's eating part of his 150 yards on the ground. Dak Prescott only had to complete 14 passes in this game. He only had to throw 22 times. And you like that.
Won the time of possession battle, and as you're going to see in the rest of these highlights here, I mean, just broke down this defense. It's late in the third here, and man, it's just hard to stop Zeke when he gets going, and it's late in the game.
And here goes Cousins again. There's D-Law. He might just break the single-season sack record. We'll talk about that after this next commercial. But 3rd and 1 here for Dallas. The read option, Dak Prescott's going to take it up the right-hand side, and he picks up way more than enough. So the Cowboys offense rolling here early in the 4th, Scott.
Yeah, looking good. I mean, Dak actually had himself one heck of a game. He just had to manage this one, and he looked fantastic doing it.
And this one, probably the nail in the coffin for Washington, as Cousins fumbles that one on a long 3rd down. So we're going to fast forward here just a little bit. It's 4th and 5. Washington still fighting to stay into the game. Here goes Chris Thompson. He picks up the first down, brought down by DeMarcus Lawrence, Sean Lee out there. It's good to see Sean Lee.
Yeah, the general. Yeah, I mean, when he's on, and we talked about this last week, we talk about it every week. When he's on the field for the defense, they're just a different animal, Tyler.
Yeah, and this was a big 4th down. Pass interference called in the end zone on Anthony Brown. So this is the ensuing play. Josh Doxson, I think that was his only catch of the day. 1 catch, 1 yard, 1 touchdown.
Yeah.
And that brings Washington to within 7. Now, I have to say, for as bad as the performance was from the Redskins, those uniforms are terrible.
I've seen worse. I've seen worse.
I don't know. I
think they're the worst in the league.
I might take maybe even like the Browns road uniforms, how they're all brown and orange.
Bad.
I actually like those a little bit better than these. This was a big play here, 3rd and 3. Dak Prescott is stopped with less than 2 minutes to go. So Washington down 7, trying to make a comeback attempt here, but the pass is tipped at the line. Byron Jones, the former Connecticut Husky, reels that one in, takes it for 6. Actually, the Cowboys tack on another field goal after that. So for all intents and purposes, it would end 33-19 with the Cowboys going up to our nation's capital, coming out victorious.
Yeah, and that last drive by the Skins, I mean, that's just an ideal situation for our pass rushers. You know that they have no timeouts. They have to throw, and they're going to tee off, and they're doing a fantastic job this year.
Yeah, I mean, that was one of our biggest question marks coming into the season was the defensive line. And now these guys are really stepping up. And, we talked about it a little bit last week. Is the defensive line as good as this offensive line? Right now,
David Irving, it's like, what, 5 sacks in 3 games?
Yeah.
I mean, he's fixing to come up with some D-Law numbers. I mean, if we keep going the way that we are. But, yeah, it's looking like one of the strengths of the team right now. I couldn't be happy with him.
Yeah, we'll be back in just a minute to dissect this game a little bit more. Don't go anywhere. You're watching the Cowboys Fan Show.